Hello, I'm Coach Natalie, and welcome to this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. Now, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to study a little bit more about the open guard. And as you know, that's when you might have your legs around your opponent, but your legs aren't, fully closed. And today we're going to actually be learning a sweep from the open guard called the sit-up turnover. Sometimes it's also called the hip bump. But it's pretty simple, so let's check it out. Okay, let's break it down. Now, if you've ever done a lot of positions where, someone's in your closed guard, you don't want to just, trap them in your closed legs, but you actually want to usually break down someone's posture. Well, in the sit-up turnover, we actually want to do the opposite. This works best actually when someone's sitting a little bit further away from you, and actually you need that space so that we can generate the momentum to sweep them. So some of the concepts that we're going to be covering today is the idea of actually using more space, the idea of rubber banding, which is like if you want to go in a certain direction, sometimes it's best not to just try to go forward, but to actually go the opposite direction and then go forward. In this case, we're going to be trying to push someone back, but not directly backwards, because their feet are going to be in the way. It's more of a diagonal. And the last thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be pushing off with our feet. So let's see what the motion is that we're going to be doing without the dummy, and then obviously with our dummy. So we're going to start off when our dummy or our partner here is across from us. Now, like I said, we don't want to have our legs closed. That would be a closed guard. Our legs are going to be open. And in fact, our legs are going to be kind of one leg pushing down on the floor and the other leg actually kind of flat. The other motion that I was talking about is the idea of rubber banding. Now, you see the rubber band concept in a sport like baseball, softball. You could take the bat and just try to push the ball forward, and I think that's called a bunt. It's not very effective. Obviously, in softball, baseball, golf, you always get the most power when you go backwards and then go forward. I think the act of crossing this center line generates more momentum, and so that's what we're going to be doing too. As I said, we're not going to be just pushing our partner backwards because their feet will be in the way. We're going to be pushing them in a diagonal, and I said we're going to generate a lot of that force with this foot that's on the ground. So what I'm going to be doing to go forward, I'm actually going to be swinging backwards and then going forward, landing on my arm, and I'm going to be overhooking my partner's arm. The last thing I'm going to be doing is pressing off on this foot, bumping, and obviously my hips are going to bump their hip, and then they're going to, get swept. So let's do it with our partner here. We'll do it in a few angles so you'll be able to see. So my partner here is, in my open guard. This leg is flat on the floor. This, my foot is flat on the floor. In this case, my leg is laying, flatter to the floor. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be swinging back this way, because really I want to be sitting up, posting on this arm, trapping this arm here. The last thing I'm going to do is press off with my foot and sweep them with my hips. That's why it's called the hip bump or the sit-up turnover. From another angle, again, your partner, or in this case your dummy, you know, one of my legs is up, one of my legs is down, swinging, landing on this hand posting, overhooking their arm, leaning on my foot. I can generate a lot of momentum. From the last angle, again, this foot is flat on the floor. This leg is laying, you know, flatter to the floor. So I'm going to be moving in this direction, so I'm going to rubber band into this direction first. So body swings this way, post, overhook, pushing up at the foot. And once you commit to the sweep, it's all one motion. So it is pretty simple, but there are some mistakes. Like I said, if the only time you've ever had someone in your guard has been in your closed guard, mostly, you know, you don't want someone to sit up. In this case, we want someone to sit up. In fact, we need a little space between us and them. So if you notice that someone is, you know, really in your face and, you know, really hovering over you, this might not be the move for you, at least at that time. Also, the hip pump works because you're off balancing someone. Now, you notice when I have my feet behind me, I really can't be pushed directly backwards because my feet are going to stop me from falling. But I have far less resistance to being pushed over to the side. So what you're going to be doing is, you know, not sweeping your partner to the side, or better yet, kind of as at a diagonal. And you are generating the power from your foot and your hip. Again, without the dummy here, they're going to be in front, and so I'm always swinging in the direction opposite that I'm actually going to eventually, you know, go forward in. So I'm swinging this way, sitting up, posting, and then with this foot and my hips, I'm sweeping with my hips, and that's why we call it the sit-up turnover or the hip bump. So let's do it again. And from the other direction. That is the sit-up turnover or the hip bump. Now, we will be building on this sweep. The next couple of weeks we'll be learning triangle from the sit-up turnover and also an arm bar. So, and then we'll do other things from the open guard just to kind of get a deeper dive to this position. So, thank you for joining us for this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. We're at the next 50 episodes and really looking forward to some new improvements and innovations. In the meantime, if you like this series, share it with a friend. If everyone shared it with, one new friend, we'd, to have the double the number of subscribers and obviously double the impact we can make introducing our friends to the gentle art of Jiu Jitsu. Thank you again. And in the meantime, thank you for your support of this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies.